So here we go then, the session will start in 20 seconds as we wait for the final drivers then to chat with their engineers and see what they're going to do for this race. We do predict a one stop, not predicting any rain by the looks off the sky, but Phil, Zandvoort, we've not done a league this year, but quickly before we start, a chance of a safety car. It's high, isn't it?
I'd imagine it is, because some of the barriers are pretty close, especially in the first sector, and the curves are lethal as the lights are about to go out.
The lights are coming on, 5 red lights at Zandvoort, and it is lights out, and away we go. It's Jordan from pole. Can he keep that Renault at bay in second? It looks like he has. Campbell Babel's made a good start. They all pile through turn 1, a bit of contact in the background. Don't touch that inside curve from anyone. You don't want to touch that at all. It is Jordan swooping through the first couple corners in his AlphaTauri. Also having a look up the inside there, but couldn't quite make the move. Sticks. It's a clean start for them all. A bit of elbows out in the background. I believe the two Alphas have come together, but we'll have to come to that in just a second. But Jordan out leading in front from Alistair, from Campbell Babel, and then Owen under pressure, who is from Mike Noon. Virtual safety car. Will we see anyone come into the pits here? Is it too early, Phil? 18 laps.
It is too early, especially for the virtual safety car. There was a bit of throwing hanging off Michael Kenny's car there. Mr. John, I think him and I don't know if it was Mike Kenny who did make contact, but the AlphaTauri front wing was just resting on the Williams there for a good few hundred metres whilst he was dragging it along. But Mr. John is out of the race. Oh, and who is that? Wooden Williams is spun in the background.
Indecisive. He DNF'd in quali, so not the race of Zandvoort he would have wanted. Not the greatest start for him either. And the VSC is now in, and we're back to racing. Anyone going to come in? I don't believe they will. Obviously now the VSC has now come out. Obviously the field's still quite bunched up. Was that Owen looking for a move on Campbell Babel? He's right up behind the back of that Papaya McLaren. What can the Tracing Point do? Shouldn't be racing because it is illegal. But what can he do? He's under pressure from Mike Noon as well. He's got to focus on attack and defence at the same time, but he's got to watch out because Jack is just behind him as well. All these guys in the championship fight. Mike Noon right up behind Owen Quimby, but this circuit, as I experienced earlier, we're doing a session with Phil, if you are in someone's dirty end, it will hamper you a lot in the corners, and it will kill your softs as well.
It will do, yeah. Mike Noon really close to Owen. He's just dropped back a couple of tenths now, and Mike Noon is known for a late dive bomb. I think Owen's kind of gathered his thoughts and he's kind of getting back into the rhythm now. He'll want to get back onto Campbell Babel. Mike Noon still will not let go of that rear end.
Mike Noon won't, and we know what Mike Noon is like. If he goes for the move, 70% of the time there's going to be contact. Sorry, Mike. Whether that is contact that leads to damage, not so often. Are we just arging and barging his way past, getting his elbows out. Campbell Babel up behind Alistair as well. 7/10 of a second, Owen getting closer and closer to the back of Campbell Babel, but Jordan has got an 8/10 lead out in front. Dexter's now up behind Jack, and Baz and Dom side by side, the black mark and the Red Bull side by side they go, and Baza has made a position up into P8 and ahead of Dom Smith. So not the start Dom would have wanted. Mr. John has now left the session, but Mike Noon still on the back of Mayor Quimby. Can he find any way past that Racing Point? Owen is a hard racer, but so is Mike Noon. Jack Pearson maybe just sitting back, biding his time. Dom has found his way back past Bazas, whether he made a mistake or not, but it's a clean and very good fight from these guys. Bazza then right up behind Dom Smith in our Aston Martin Red Bull racing car. Can he find his way back past the, I would say Silverado, but it's not silver anymore. Can he find his way past the Mercedes? I'm sure let's find his way past Red Bull Kim. Yellow flag into sector 2, not quite sure what that was for. Maybe that was for Red Bull Kim. Maybe that's how he found his way past. Bear Grylls has found his way past Neil Jack as well. Mayor Quimby though got now the DRS on the back of Campbell Babel. Can he find his way past Mike? Just that too far behind now, and Jack. These guys really single file at the minute. It is a hard track to overtake. They are the AWS Insights. How lovely they are to have them in the game. And Baz has gone straight off at turn 1. Not what he would have wanted. He's managed to keep it not from going too deep in the gravel, but not what Baza would have wanted, and that is Bear Grylls all over the back of now, Jack.
And Indecisive is off in the last sector on the run to the final corner. He's crawling along.
That he is, whether he's got damage or not.
He's missing part of his end plate on the right hand side, so yes.
So
and Red Bull Kim is off at turn 1 as well.
Red Bull Kim is off at turn 1, 4 laps into this Grand Prix. Jordan now has a second lead over Alistair in second, so Jordan controlling the pace of this race at the minute. Kamababo still about that 5 tenths, 6 tenths behind. They're all just slipstreaming each other at the minute. Who's going to go for the undercut? Jack Pearson all over the back off Mike. You don't want to hit that curve, Jack. That will send the car into a spin. But Mike looking a bit closer now to Owen to maybe try and launch an attack back on him. It's just one big DRS train at the minute. Dexter's on the back of this as well. Dom 5 seconds back. He'll be hoping he can maybe try and make some inroads on this. Very good points up for grabs if he can. 1.4 seconds out of the gap to Jordan. So is Jordan now starting to get that hammer down, starting to push that bit more. 18 laps ahead of the drivers here. It is a very difficult circuit. One mistake and you're up into the gravel, or even worse, the wall.
And this circuit requires a lot of concentration as well. It's kind of like a mini Monaco, but the barrier is a bit far back. But can't touch any of the curves, and it's a fast circuit as well, so it's immense concentration. Mike New is really close to Owen there. Owen just about bends it up. Thought Mike was lining it up, but looks like Jordan's just got a handy little gap over Alistair. Alistair himself is now pulling a little gap over Kamababo. But this top 7 outpull clear of Dom Smith, who probably for Dom going by qualifying is about where he would want to be, and he probably would like to pull away from Baz and just have a lone race to P8. It'll probably be a solid result for Dom there. Alex is working his way into the top 10, and still at score in the top 7 at the moment.
That it is. They might not be fighting each other. It might not be the most entertaining race up at the front, but they're not doing anything wrong. They're slipstreaming each other. They're pulling away from that midfield pack, which is what they need to do when the pit stops come around. If people are on the medium compound off tyre, you don't want to get stuck behind traffic, so they are doing what they need to do. They're not fighting, they're not costing each other time, they're sort of all just pulling away from the cars in front. Angel Rush is definitely 2.5 tenths up behind Bear Grylls. What can the Williams do on the McLaren? Obviously equal car performance, so it's just setup that can make the difference really. But Mike's still over the back of Owen, and we really are seeing how difficult this track is to overtake. You cannot get close to another car, and then when you do, another corner comes up and all the dirty air comes in and affects the front end, washes it away, and then the softs start to go off because they're starting to slide. 6 laps in, no pit stops from the top 7 as of yet. But Dom really starting to drop back from these guys, so not really what he would have wanted. He wanted to be maybe a bit closer for that, maybe not in the fight, I don't think he's got the pace for that, but maybe a bit closer to pick up the scraps if anything does happen. Well, I do predict those softs to mediums. Mike's made a wee mistake there, that's going to cost him big time. To Jack Pearson then with that red and black helmet and the black Mercedes. Mike just looking so quick in a straight line, and Owen has the call that he will be the first person into the pit lane. Wise call, Phil?
I mean, he's kind of stuck in a train. Why not, initiate something, get something going? He might come out in a gap just behind. Alistair's round. Alistair's out of the race.
Alistair is out, and the VSC has been deployed. Some things never change with our boy. Comfortably second. He was second in Hanoi, and he's put it into the wall. Not what he would have wanted, but the VSC coming out maybe just a little bit late for Owen. He has come out in clean-ish areas behind Bazza and Dom, but he should quickly clear them.
He's ahead of Alex. He's got about a 3-second gap to Bazza as we are back on the way again. So, virtual safety car kind of playing into Owen's hands.
Maybe save the front guys a bit though. Not pushing.
Definitely. But oh god, Alistair. I mean, I was just about to say, he did close in a bit on Jordan, and I think he made a mistake going into turn 1, so I think he was just maybe just trying to make it all back up in one corner, and there's a bit of dust. Kamababo dives in the pit. Looks like Mike and Jack are falling in, and Dexter stayed out.
They are, so those 3 coming in, so Dexter and Jordan staying out. Alistair knew this was the perfect chance for him. Smokey J's wasn't there. He has a chance to get back into it. Mike has just gone straight through the pit lane.
Oh, does he have a drive-through?
Possibly. He's gone straight through the pit lane and has come out on them soft tyres. Kamababo has not gone straight through the pit lane and has put on the mediums. But like I was saying, he has kept ahead of him. So like I was saying, this was the perfect chance. The championship leader's not there. After a poor race in Hanoi, this was a chance to build some, get some gains on the driver's in front and he's in a wall, and that's no points for him again at one of the newer circuits that F1 have added. He's just not up to speed. For someone who was looking he had the pace for a podium, he will be kicking himself with that one. But what can Owen now do on the back of Camo Bauer, both on the medium compound tyre, and with traffic ahead, yellow flag sector 2. Bear Grylls, I believe, being passed by Jack Pearson, so Jack hasn't cleared the traffic, maybe a bit of a mistake there, and it's indecisive off in the Williams again, causing that yellow flag. But because we've had two, I do believe we're not going to see another safety car or VSC. Dexter has got a 5-second.
Oh dear, when something you desperately don't need is something like that when there's a tight-knit group having a battle. Baza now has an interesting trade behind him with Camo Bauer and Owen, who have both made their stops.
Owen's going to try and follow. Good move from Camo Bauer. Owen trying to follow them through there, but just couldn't quite get past everyone. Goes right at the inside of Baza. That's not wasting any time, getting his elbows out and passing F1 Baza and in to P3. But when is Jordan going to come in then? Really going long on the soft compound tyre. Jack right up behind Dexter as well, who's also pitted.
Jack lost an awful lot of time now. I think he must have got stuck behind Blair Grylls for quite a long time. Also interesting to know, Mike has pitted and he's stuck about ahead of Dom. Dom double stacked with Jack, the Mercedes double stacked. I think that was not a good call because it cost him a fair bit more time, so he might be behind Baza when Baza does make his pit stop.
Yeah, he has lost a lot of time, but so is Jordan out front, maybe just wanting to relish. He is now in. Should be interesting to see where he comes out in that. But Jack all over the back now of ILRT Dexter. Can he find his way past the Red Bull? He's also got the other Red Bull of Baza up ahead, I believe, should be pitting in the near future. But where is Jordan going to come out? Camo Bauer and all that coming down around turn 1, and they are ahead of Jordan and Owen side by side. Can he get past Jordan? Yes, he can. So he's lost 2 spots. Not what the AlphaTauri would have wanted there, but he is on the fresher rubber.
Indeed, so he probably want to make inroads straight away and use the extra grips or something and go 3 seconds down apparently there. He's right on the back of Owen. This is not an overtaking spot, but he's absolutely harassing the back of that racing point. To no effect though, Owen has once again held off another car through that sector. Probably fairly easy to do as long as you just maintain your racing line, but Jordan not happy about losing 2 positions, but he's got the fresher tyres. Maybe he just needs to get into a rhythm and let the wear rates drag him back through the Owen and Camo Bauer. But Camo Bauer now leads the race.
Yes, he does. 1 second out in front. He will be hoping that the wear does come into his hands, but this is a track where track position, I would like to say, is king, and he's just flown? Yeah, we'll go with that. He's just flown that away. And especially if Dexter and Jack start to make some reels into these guys. But he is gaining and gaining on the back of Owen. Is he going to go for the dive bomb? And he's not thinking about that yet, but he is getting closer and closer to the back of that tracing point of Mayor Quimby. Can he find his way past in the next part of the circuit? I don't think so through this part. It'd be impressive if he does. Got a very good exit, not using the overtake button, so maybe he's just thinking, you know, this corner isn't really an overtaking chance. We'll go for it later on in the lap. You see, he's just very cautious through there, stamping on the brakes, doesn't want to rear-end the back of Owen like Owen did to Jack in Australia in the first race. But he is definitely all over the back of the racing point.
He is indeed. Still pressuring him. Let me get my words right. Camo Bauer is pulling away now with that. I think Owen is concentrating more on his mirrors than he is going forwards, and not surprising when Jordan is absolutely harassing the gearbox of the racing point there. Dexter's still holding off Jack Pearson, who's picked up a penalty. Still, if it's only the 1 penalty, he will be. It stays like as it is with the gap.
That could be it though. Gonna have to interrupt you. Jordan now all over the back of Owen. You got a fantastic use the slipstream, Jordan. Not needing it. Overtake DRS and Rich Mix and into turn 1. Jordan up in a second, but Owen's going to try and hang it round the outside. I think Jordan turned it a bit too early. There's a Renault leaving the pits there. He's a lap down. Still side by side. None of the drivers want to give this up. And Owen still holding on to second. Very good defensive driving and very clean from Owen Quimby.
Brilliant driving there by Owen. He committed to going around the outside there and pulled off a brilliant defensive move. It looked like an overtake, but it was definitely a defensive move. Great battling between the pair of them there. Jordan has to do plan B, or is it plan C now?
It's getting to the point where he's going to need more alphabet. He's got that many plans to try and get past Owen. But he's running out of time if he wants to try and catch Camel Babel on the fresher rubber, because being stuck in dirty air is not going to help. That Renault Rebel Kim is now off.
I think he was just moving out of the way with Mike Noon coming through there. Who did just set the fastest lap, Mike Noon. Bit in no man's land though.
Yes, in no man's land indeed, but we'll get the point for it. Now Jordan, very good exit out of the penultimate corner, and then slipstream through the final corner, DRS and overtake. I'm assuming you'll have it in Rich Mix as well. He's pulling to the left-hand side of the circuit this time. Who's going to be late on the brakes? Jordan round the outside of Owen, side by side, still banging wheels, and Jordan, I think, has pulled off a fantastic move on the outside of Owen, and into second now. Can he go and set his sights on that McLaren Renault of Camel Babel? He's not got long to do it, but the gap is only 1.2 seconds.
So what's it, 6 laps to go. Fantastic move. He went on the outside this time. Owen put the car in the middle, and as doing that, Jordan has set a purple first sector, so we're straight down to business to try and catch Camel Babel. 6 laps to go. He hasn't got a whole lot of time to do it on a short track, but he's got his head down. He's chasing after him. Owen could do well just sticking the slipstream in DRS and letting him be towed up there. Dexter's caught Owen up and he's within DRS range. He's kind of dropping Jack a bit now. He's in a safe 5th place. Mike is 10 seconds behind. So it can be a fight for the top 5 positions here, as Jordan looks like he's going to set a fastest lap here. No, he doesn't, but he's within now DRS range of Camel Babel, so maybe in the next 2 laps you could see an attack from Jordan for the race lead.
Yep, definitely reeling in. Camel Babel is Jordan. Again, he's running out of time to do it though. And here Jack just not having the pace in the second stint in this race. Dexter really closing in on Owen, who's now dropped outside of DRS of Jordan. So that just shows how quick this AlphaTauri is. Jordan on a mission, flinging that car through there. Will they be able to get past Camel Babel in time? Dexter now gaining and gaining on the back of Owen. Now the gap's just 7 tenths now, up to 8.5. Yellow flag is hit to 1 and 2 probably lap cars getting out of the way, but this could be an interesting fight for the final podium position.
Definitely could be. Indecisive staying out of the way. Jordan half a second now behind. Owen is now dropped to 1.5 seconds. Dexter will be interested in getting 3rd place, but he does have that 5 second time penalty for speeding the pit lane. So Owen, I don't think has got a penalty, so he can lose a position as long as he stays within 5 seconds.
This could be it though. DRS and overtake. Jordan sets the fastest lap in doing so and takes back the lead of the Zandvoort Grand Prix. Sorry, the Dutch Grand Prix. And made his way past Camel Babel. I don't think Camel Babel will have any responses to that. Owen really far behind now. Dexter really now on the back of Owen. Jack will be praying for an incident between these two. Catapult him into 3rd if that happens. But Jordan, I think, will drive off into the sunset.
Blake Wills is out of the race. He's hit the barrier. I think he's hit the inside barrier where you had a comical incident in testing earlier today.
Oh yes, that was, well, BS. So yeah, that wasn't fun, but it's easy to do on that curb.
Camel Babel is sticking handily to the back of Jordan. I've just seen Sir Tom Penguin getting past M-Shep 94, so the 2 Alfa Romeos literally still stuck together in tandem, spinning together in turn 1, and they're still together right now, battling for 11th place. I mean, one more retirement and it is to come for the last point play position, so every position does count. Camel Babel is just losing a bit more time now. I think Jordan does have the edge here.
Dexter now all over the back of Owen. I thought Owen was going to be a sitting duck down that straight, but seems to be running a little less downforce to maybe make that racing point a little bit quicker in a straight line. But Dexter has a very good opportunity for a podium here. He has got that penalty indeed, but you never know. Owen could pick up some as well on these final laps. You don't know how many warnings he's got. Still wants to go for it though. You want to do it for pride, even though if you're not going to finish there in the end. Yellow flag in the sector 2, and one of the Alphas is round. I believe it's Sir Tom Penguin.
It is.
Yeah, Camel Babel now outside of DRS, so Jordan doing what he needs to do. Can Dexter now do what he needs to do and pass the Tracing mate? Look at that as LRT deck behind. Jack on the second stint though.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't quite hear you there. Your mic lagged quite badly for that whole sentence there.
So, I'll rewind. I'll go back to that. So, and then 2.1 seconds now behind Camo Babo. And and then just like Jack in this second stint of the race, just hasn't got that final bit of pace. They're sort of just, I don't know, they're defending. They can't really do much. The mediums have really killed their race pace.
Yeah, they have. One thing I did kind of spot throughout the race, on the, I don't think it does have a corner name, but the mini carousel, let's call it, turn 4, turn 5. Jordan carries a lot of speed through it and is working that corner so much better than anyone else. He's probably gaining up to half a second on some people around that corner, and that's definitely giving him an advantage compared to Owen and Dexter. I think Dexter might have an advantage over Owen, maybe just the way they've set their cars up. So you think Owen's probably gone for a low drag car. So battle for P3 is on. Jack is closing back up now as Dexter has caught the back of Owen. Jack could be interested again in Dexter. So the fight is probably the closest one on track right now. Baz has caught up to Dom. It's taking him a few laps to do it, but there's another fight potentially happening there.
He's half spun it, and that'll allow Dom to go off into the sunset. But Dexter just hasn't got enough to, I think, get past Owen, and Jack, I don't think, has really enough on this final lap to get past either of them.
Probably not, as they are on the last lap there, or halfway around the last lap. Jordan just needs to hit all the apexes, not make any silly mistakes, not hitting any curbs, just take it in, struggle it home, pick up the 25 points. And I think the extra point for fastest lap as well, if I remember rightly. I think he still does hold the fastest lap.
Jordan does, yeah. But it is Jordan then. We're going to have to go around that final corner. 18 laps of Zandvoort, and he's pretty much had it his own way. Jordan wins by 4.3 seconds in the end. Fantastic drive from Jordan. Camo Babo will hold on for second, only just though, to Owen Quimby. Jack jumps Dexter in all those penalties. Mike Noon then, hitting the gravel there, that can unsettle the rear. 18 laps and would have been at the final corner, that would have been pleasant for him. But going up to the pit wall, P6 for him. Dom Smith, I think, will be happy with P7. Good points. Baza has closed that gap back in, but again, just not enough time in the Grand Prix. Dom's had to hit the wall. It's going to get Baza a run. Straight isn't long enough. Jack, I think, will he be happy with P9? He's not too quick on this game.
It's a solid recovery. He did start down in, what, I think P14, 15 or something like that, so a solid recovery gets him a couple of points. Michael Kenny way back in 10th place. These are the people who've had issues throughout the race, starting with Michael Kenny. He'll pick up a point, and M-Shep leading the Alfa Romeo's home after the disastrous first corner. Is the last one not on the lead lap?
He is on the lead lap then. Here comes Red Bull Kim. Driver of the day now, Jackson. A very good recovery drive, like you said, from him. But a few drivers I think will be disappointed out there. You'll have Owen finishing third, you'll have Jack finishing fourth. Alistair DNFing. Nothing new, but there is the podium then for the Dutch Grand Prix. An Alpha Tauri, a McLaren, and a Racing Point. If only F1 was that good in real life.
I'm going to leave the party and then come send me an invite. Just sort my echo out.
So there it is then, the rundown for the Dutch Grand Prix. It's Jordan who controlled this race, an 11.6 fastest lap as well. 10th quicker than Mike Noon to steal that point away from him. So there's Jordan and Campbell Babel in second, Mirko will be third, Jack Pearson is fourth. I think they'll be happy with third and fourth, seeing as Smokey's not here, but they definitely could have been a lot better, those two. Dexter fifth, Mike Noon sixth, Baz seventh, Dom Smith demoted to 8th in the end. Now Jack 9th, Angel vs Death rounding out the top 10, and M-Ship and Tom Penguin just missing out on points for the Alfa Romeo cars. Next is the Circuit de Barcelona, Circuit de Catalunya.
Testing. Echo,
1,
echo.
2. I can't hear an echo, it's just the stream that can hear it.
It's just a stream. So it might be the game then.
I can't hear an echo, it's just the stream that can hear it.
It's just a stream. So it might be the game.
Nice echo!
Is it still sounding echoey?
Yes.
I'll try restarting again.
Reset your console.
Okay.
You got time, it's quality, so. In the chat. So what have we got in the chat then? We've got okay. Phil commenting live from a cave. Sounds like it in the stream, to be fair. 5 winners from 5 different races. F1 2012, anyone? Congratulations on winning the first race, Jordan, from the Demi in real life. And I didn't think it was possible for the Echo to have an Echo, but that is a thing. So the session time, we're having a fit. Interesting to see why Joe Sayer's not racing tonight. Also, any intertube from Jack. Spurs do want their bottles back, Alistair. I think we can rebrand Alistair Bain 06 to Nico Hulkenberg. Gets in the positions, which doesn't work out for him. Not at home from Sayer Sports. Well, get to home and get racing. But hopefully Phil can rejoin us, not Echo. Interesting to see what times the drivers can do for Spain. And I remember to remind everyone that Jack Pearson is a nonce. Well, I'm not going to say if you're right or wrong on that one. I think we all know the answer to that. If only if I had an available backup commentator. If only I did have an available backup commentator. If only I did. But, you know, he's busy buying mics from Wish that don't work, so I can't ask him. But qualifying then for The Spanish Grand Prix is about to get underway. Any cars leaving the pit lane just yet? The drivers putting their setups on, which some drivers didn't do in TG1 in Hanoi. Be interesting to see what goes on. I think Phil is coming back, so I don't think I'll need. I don't think I'll need anyone else. I do like my Phil. Phil Badger has now rejoined the session. Minutes on the clock then, and we have the first cars out on track. It is Michael Noon, the man with two cats, out first on track. It looks like he's AI as well, so let's just go with someone else. Camo Babel then was so close to a race win, but it was taken away from him. And Speak Phil.
Testing.
Hang on.
Testing.
Right, hang on. I think I might have a fix for this.
Oh god.
Yep, hang on. Something Genre said like years ago. Right, speak.
Hello.
Yeah, hang on. Something Genre said like years ago. Right, speak. Hello. Nope, still echoey.
Yeah.
So not great then for Philip Barswell. Nope, still echoey. Not good for him.
I don't have the audio coming through my headset either. I don't know how it is.
Have you got your audio coming through your headset?
No.
Do that.
Really?
Yeah. It's something really weird that fucks with it. I remember John saying that a couple of years ago. Because I was echoing on the stream when I had my headset, but I had everything coming out the game or something. Yep, cheers Joe, I do have ears. Right, let me know when you've changed it.
How do I change it? Is it just in settings?
Load up the quick menu, and it'll say like chat audio or something. Change it to all audio. It's under like sounds and devices or something.
Oh, hang on. Yeah. Got an idea.
Oh, come on, ball out in qualifying. Yeet.
Shit. Aidan, invite John as he'll co-commentate. I'll just sit in.
No, change your thing to the thingy. I want to see if it works.
Hang on a second.
Open up the quick menu. You know when you hold the PlayStation button.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, go to sounds and devices, and it'll say chat audio or something. Click it, and it should say all audio. Make sure you put all audio on.
Sounds and devices. Yeah. Chat audio.
All audio. Yeah. Is that done?
It's done. Try it now.
Is that done? It's done. Nope, still echoing.
Friggin' right, invite John.
Yeah, okay.
Change the commentators.
Yay.
Enjoy the race.
See you later. So welcome back then to qualifying for the Spanish Grand Prix. We've already had one casualty in Camo Babo. Not quite sure who's on a lap. Owen on a lap then it looks like. So what can he do in his tracing point? I need to send Owen an invite to the game as well. Not Owen. Jean-Luc. Jean-Luc. There we go. But Owen then what can he do on his lap? Or the tracing point? Just waiting for the arrival of Jean-Luc Taylor, and there is the Jean-Luc Taylor. Hello, Jean.
This is Joey Martin. Good evening.
Right, let me just see if this is echoing. Right, let me just see if this is echoing. Jean, say a sentence for me, honey.
Okay.
I'll do. Okay, it's still echoing.
Is it?
Yeah, I've got an idea.
Right, I'm just joining into the session now.
Right, I have switched to my headset instead of my one-ear thing. Hang on. Right, Jean, say something for me.
Okay, yeah, I've just joined so I can now see the order.
Fixed it, moved. Right, okay.
So it's
So
never
who-
Phil's issue.
So whoever's streaming needs to have a mic on then, like a headset. Yay. Right, okay. So 11 minutes left of qualifying. Technical glitches, F1 have them all the time, but it's good to have you joining me, Jean. And I don't know how much you know about TGP2. I know you tune into the streams, but I don't know how much you were here last season. Have you got a favourite for Paul?
Well, going from the Dutch Grand Prix and Jordan's performance, and the fact he's currently half a second clear in qualifying, you have to say he's the favourite. Obviously, Camo Babo out the session, he probably would have been one of the chief rivals, as I believe Dom might have just gone P5 there.
Yes, he has.
You've still got Alistair, who's on a lap now, just
Validated
going
it.
through the end of the first sector, that's invalidated. And keep an eye for Mike Moon as well in the Ferrari. He has a habit of setting a very quick time in qualifying. Jordan, meanwhile, half a second clear while on the medium tyres, so we'll see what he set the fastest lap on. Yeah, he's done his best on the mediums, and it's
3 laps old though.
Third lap. While most are filled on soft tyres, significant amount off at the moment, but that could just be early banker laps. You could see with the second run, see how everyone will perform once they put maximum ERS settings, engine modes and the such in.
Yep, people do love the banker laps. So 10 minutes 20 remaining in this session. We do expect lap times to start tumbling soon, so we'll go with Mike Noon then for the lap of Barcelona, and I'll put Jean under pressure and I'll get Jean to take us through it.
Right, then down towards turn 1, at max speed down towards fourth gear at 100 mile an hour as we go through the left at turn 2 and a long right-hander of turn 3, which you can pretty much take flat nowadays. Now to the infamous turn 4 where the two Mercedes came together in 2016 as Mike goes purple in sector 1. Round turn 4 down towards the downhill turn 5. It's a tricky corner, very easy to go a bit wide on exit. Mike does very well there, however, as he comes towards turn 6. And then 7, I'm losing track of the corners, but apparently 6 is a little kink, and this is up towards turn 9 now. A very fast right-hander, very easy to run wide on the exit, hit the gravel and have an accident, but Mike does well there. He has the DRS now open as he comes towards the left-hand into the final sector. Very technical, twisty stuff. Mike purple again now as he comes up round towards the final few corners. The lap's looking very good for him, I have to say. As he comes towards the last chicane, I do prefer the old configuration, which is just two very fast right-handers, not this clumsy chicane, as you can see. As Mike now comes around the final corner, he will hit the DRS portal there, hits the button, comes to the line, and takes pole by just over a quarter of a second. A 1:16.057.
Very good lap there from Mike, and a very good analysis of that lap then from Jeaners, but I say Mike Noon there. Jack, I believe, also on a lap. He's on the soft compound tyre in the Mercedes. What can Jack do? You want to be up there as well. No Smokey J, so a big night for the likes of Jordan, Jack and Owen. Trying to get back into this title fight with him because he's looking very quick at the minute. Is Smokey J. TGP1 bound, I believe. Kong Hoffner quick from last season just turns up, does what he needs to do. Jack losing the lead end. That Merc was almost in the gravel, or even worse, in the wall. He's going to validate his lap time though. Bit of traffic coming up to the final corner of Red Bull Chem, so he might get a bit of a cheeky tow here as he actually comes into the pits. So didn't hold up Jack too much. Maybe the dirty air disturbing the car a bit, but a 16.8 to beat. And there's a 15.8, 2/10 of a second quicker than Mike Nudes. Who are we waiting for? Well, sorry for Sutton Penguin and Alistair then to do laps. So also not having the easy way of it and has gone out on the medium compound.
Meanwhile, Sertan Penguin just going around the first sector now. He's just done a 21.7, a little deeper into turn 4. And I've got to say, there's probably a little bit more time there for Jack. As you said, he made a small mistake at the start of sector 3 the back end, stepping out. But even so, he managed to improve by over a tenth on his previous best in that sector. Not 9/10 improvement in the end on his own lap, which has now put him on pole position. As Alistair has now begun his first qualifying lap of the session.
On the medium compound as well, so it'll be interesting to see what he can do on that tyre. Maybe the better tyre to go for around Spain, but the likes of safety cars and VSCs could throw some spanners into the works. So we'll go with him then for the rest of his lap. It'll be the first lap he's done in qualifying. I believe he's had 2 attempts prior to this, but just keeps invalidating it, just can't get the car to steady enough through that part of the track.
And I will just warn, as Alistair's come through, we do have Angel versus Death just recovering from a spin as Alistair makes it through. He's might be, I'm not sure where he is compared to some of the front runners, but it could be a decent lap for him. Meanwhile, Sertan Penguin went P12 with his first flying lap, but here's Alistair then into the final few corners.
Here we go then, what can he do on the medium compound? He'll be wanting to review the lap if he's not going to go for the softs again. Doesn't look a very quick lap. It does. It goes third on the medium compound, a 16.1, so I take that back. Is there proposition for pole? Very good lap from them on the medium.
It's an interesting one here. It's a bit like real life F1 in a way, where, well, actually it was for Silverstone in Spain from what I can remember, but medium tyres are doing very well here compared to the soft tyres. I know Spain can be prone to be a bit high on tyre wear as well, so I think it wouldn't be too surprising if a few of the people at the front stick with the mediums and go for the ultimate strategy in the race. It could potentially be quicker across the race distance. But some very impressive times there as Jordan completely blows it out of the water by going nearly 6/10 clear on pole with a 1:15.3.
Fantastic lap time from him there. So just looking at the medium runners at the minute, we've got Alistair currently 4th on a set of mediums, Owen 5th on the mediums, along with 10th and 11th Baza and M-Ship. So Alistair and Owen flying the flag for the mediums. So maybe a bit more to come then from Owen Quimby and Alistair if they decide to go back out on the softs, because Jordan really is the driver to beat at the minute.
Yeah, absolutely. He's had a brilliant win in Zandvoort, obviously having to make his way back to the lead after a bit later than some of the cars in front that undercut him, but he definitely had the pace advantage in the AlphaTauris. He's going round on the lap now. I think it was a slow down lap. ERS is off and he does seem to be cruising a little bit, so he'll be on his way in. Jack, meanwhile, just behind him on the track, he's on an out lap, so it looks like he's going to have his final run now, and he's the closest challenger at the moment.
Yeah, leaving it, not the latest, you could definitely leave it from Jack, but M-Ship then looking to try and improve on his lap time of a 17.9, I keep doing that tonight. What is that, 6/10, 5-6 to the next car of F1 Bantam. Mr. John has decided to call it quits in the pit lane, so he won't be doing any more running. Top 10 for M-Ship, I think he will be pleased with that. Keeping it within track limits. Not the smoothest lap from himself so far, but Jack has started laps. We're going to have to go with Jack, see if he can go anywhere near pole position through turns 1 and 2. Is he flat through turn 2? He is, and he's keeping the throttle planted through turn 3 as well. So that's when you know you've got a good line through there. Flat through turn 2 and turn 3, but most importantly, will be flat through Kansas, and he is improving 2.5 tenths up on this current lap time, and he's only in the first sector, so time there for Jack, and there's definitely time in this final part of the lap. 3 minutes 30 remaining, so this is definitely Jack's final run. I don't want to invalidate it here though, in typical Jack fashion, and he doesn't. Is he flat through Kansas? Lifting off just before. He was flat through it, but he shredded off some speed before going into it, and he is up again. Spending a bit more time. This time it's closer to 3 tenths than 2.5 tenths. So this won't put him pole, but it'll definitely put him up there. But now, this is where the time is defined for the Silver Arrow. Not silver anymore though. And he's gone wide and invalidated it.
Yeah, Ben, I think that's going to be a quick hop into the pits and see if he could get, if the Mercedes team can quickly get a new set of softs on and go for one final run. He is pushing it close, but it's not impossible that he might just get out in time. I think the cars to really look at that are currently on laps would be the likes of Blair Grills and Simpson. Now Jack in 8th, they're the highest placed drivers at the moment on laps. Now Jack in the rated points coming towards Dom in the Mercedes, but Dom will get out the way on this straight, probably giving him a little bit of a tow down the back straight as well, which he does. And now Jack is a 10th up, which could potentially just get him into 7th place. He did go a little deep into the hairpin at the end of start of sector 3, but we'll see where this lap takes the racing points.
Well,
Very
indeed,
nearly
coming
out of the
through
rest as
the
well.
final chicane, he is almost through. He's going to derate before the line. What can the racing point do? 2 minutes left on the clock. Can he improve on P8? And it does find an improvement. It does stay 8. Mike has gone back out there. Alistair and Owen yet to go back out. They are the 2 medium runners, so maybe thinking about choosing that for the race. But I want you to see where Bear Grylls can go. Doesn't improve on
Be
that
careful
lap.
of that.
He is out now
Owen
on
trying
soft.
to let Dom through. Owen trying to let Dom through. He did have a Mercedes behind him, which is Jack. Obviously, what happened in TGP1 yesterday in China, I think it was Matt Tibos was backing off on the pit exit just to let another car through that was on a flying lap, but unfortunately at the same time 2 more cars had come up the pits behind him, and the game deemed him illegally blocking and gave him a 5th place grid penalty. Rather harshly, because he was getting out of the way of a car on a flying lap, but the top 6 then, all on outlaps.
And all on
to
softs.
go. And Dexter will be the first across the line to start his lap. He'll be followed by Mike, and then there's Jordan after that. And then you've got Aiden, Alistair and Jack all together on the track.
It'd be interesting to see
Sorry,
where these
Owen,
guys can
Alistair
go.
and Jack.
I was about to say, I'm not racing, I'm here with you. Number 1 commentator for TGP2, I'm not racing. I'm in TGP1, that'll float my boat. But Dexter then starting his final lap, all the drivers starting the final. A bit of a gaggle in the final sector. It'll be interesting to see if any of these drivers make it. I do believe they will, but Alistair will be the last car to cross the start-finish line. So he'll be the last car to do his lap. But Dexter then, what can he do? It's the crunch time in qualifying. A 16.8 at the minute through camps. A slight lift from him, so the drivers not really got the confidence all running the downforce to take that flat. What can he do in the middle? Bit of traffic ahead of him. 10 seconds now remain on the clock. Car number 76, ILRT Dexter, 16.8 at the minute. M-Ship getting out of the way, nice and compact to that long right-hander. M-Ship moves in the rear in the background. Now into the tight and twisty final sector. What can he do now? Avoid invalidating your lap, and he's done that fantastically. The car was nice and stable. Maybe not the quickest way, but definitely nice and stable. He scores 5th ahead of Owen, who is on a lap. But next will be Mike Noon, who has invalidated his lap. And then we have Jordan coming through the final part of the lap now. Can he improve on a 15.3 and a fantastic lap from the AlphaTauri, losing the rear end as we go through that. Lovely chopper cam through the final corner. Can the AlphaTauri extend his lead at the front? He stays. Next will be Jack Pearson, I believe. No, next will be Owen Quimby and then Jack. So it is a tracing point. Alistair has called it quits in qualifying, so he will be starting on the medium compound tyre. Owen then, what can he do? Can he go any higher than P6? I do believe he will on the softs. And goes P3 ahead of Mike Noon. And Jack Pearson stays second, doesn't improve on his lap time, and then Decisive was last to cross the start-finish line. Whew.
Yes, so I did spot that Mike must have made an error on the start of his lap. He was over a second down in sector 1. Jack just managed to invalidate in the last sector. Had he not, he would have got within a 10th of Jordan. Meanwhile, Bazza managed to get himself from 10th up to 7th with his final lap, having gone on to the softs. He found about nearly a second and will line up behind his teammate.
It's going to be interesting to see what how the race pans out. Alistair, the only car on that medium compound tyre, so he'll be hoping that there is no safety car, or if there is a safety car, it comes out when he needs to pit. Only 8 attempts back though on the medium compound, so maybe there was a chance to go for pole position, but it's Jordan by half a second. It's like Smokey Jays hasn't even left. He's not here, but Jordan has gone crickety-crack to the knuckles and filled Smokey Jays' shoes and is taking him pole by half a second. And I think he, again, is TGP1 bound for next season. Also know he does a lot of other leagues outside of TGP. But now the final drivers. The drivers in their final checks ahead of the race fuel load, maybe changing that fault line, talking with the engineers, because you don't want to go into this race not knowing what your strategy is. Safety cars and VSCs could play a part in this. Hit turn 1 is quite far away from the grid slot, so there will be some slipstreaming. We've seen it in real life 1 with Lance Stroll getting a fantastic start, slipstreaming all the way down into turn 1. Spain is notorious for having a far away turn 1, but will they all get through it cleanly? We're about to find out in 10 seconds time when the lights come on for round 6 of TGP2. Waiting for the final drivers to ready up. And there we go then, the cars are now on the grid. Eventually, the cars are going to get to the grid. There we go, the cars are now on the grid. 5 red lights ahead of the drivers. Lights out, and away we go. It's a good start from Jordan. It's a decent start from Jackson. Very good start though from Owen Quimby and Mike Noon in the background. There's a quick start in Renault in there as well. Jack very, very dangerous from that swipe at the inside of Jordan. Takes the lead into turn 1, and that is exactly what he needed. Mike Noon on the grass in third. It's going to collect Owen there. It was very close between those guys. Double Allison now. He's going to sandwich in the middle 3 wide. Allison right round the outside of them all. Can he do it on the medium compound? He's definitely thinking about it. Absolutely fantastic. It's clean from absolutely everyone up the start, and Alistair banging his way past Owen. He needs a good Spanish Grand Prix, and he's put himself in the third. Now that was ballsy. We've seen Alex Albon trying to do it on Carlos Sainz. Alistair then has done it on the tracing point of Mir Quimby, but Jack leading out in front at the start of the Spanish Grand Prix.
Yeah, it was a good start by all. There was a couple of cars off towards the back, just one car running a bit wide, but unfortunately Mike got a little bit tangled up in that battle and has ended up dropping down to 14th position, just having passed Tom Penguin's Alfa Romeo. So disaster for Mike, but we can see how we'll see how he recovers through the field, because he's got a definite pace advantage over most of the cars in front. The AWS pit stop strategy is either mediums or hard.
Here we go. Then Owen's going to jump back in front of Alistair. Then Alistair used all his battery, but Alistair's sticking back in the DRS. Is he going to go back up the inside of Mir Quimby? Having a look, just that little bit too far back and can't quite make that move on Mir Quimby. But very good racing and very clean from most of the drivers out there. But Jack then with a 9-10 second advantage. He's doing what he needs to do. Now Jack now on the back of F1 Baz. He's on the back of his team at the Red Bulls. Always seems to be running in around 6th or 7th. At the minute 5th and 6th on the soccer compound, and now pressuring the Renault Alfa, who's still not let Owen go. So the medium's clearly working on that Renault in the early stages of this race, and he will be going on to the soft tyres at some point as well. Now Jack has found his way past F1 Baz at 17 laps. It's a long race. And I did cut you off for the AWS. When was the predicted stop, and Alistair's got a penalty?
The AWS predicted stop between lap 6 and 8 for either the medium or the hard tyres. I can also tell you, Cameron Babbe from the back of the grid is already up into the top 10. He's had a brilliant first lap as he just gets himself a penalty. That is what you call the commentator's curse. But he is looking pretty quick. He's on the back of Dom and Matt Shepherd in P8 and P9, so it's a battle for 8 there.
Here we go, Dexter gaining and gaining and gaining on the back of Alistair on the mediums. He goes defensive, can't quite keep the Red Bull behind him. Dexter up the inside. Alistair's, I think, going to have to give this one up. We see how Stroll and Norris crashed there in 2019, and Dexter's found his way past Alistair. Definitely struggling for pace at the minute on those medium compounds, but the race will start to come to him eventually. But every time down that back straight, seems people running less down for Cameron Babbe. It's found his way past M-Ship, who is round. Don't think we'll see a safety car for that. But can now Dexter find a bit more pace and get past Owen Quimby, who's been struggling in the early stages of this race. 2.7 seconds behind Jordan. Can he find a way past the racing point? But Jack doing what he needs to do. Cameron Babbe then is now 9th in that McLaren.
Yeah, he's definitely the big winner from the opening few laps. Good starts for Jack and Dom as well. They've gone up 3 and 2 positions respectively, and Dexter has also gone up 2 from 6th to 4th. obviously have just got past Alistair, who's on the ultimate strategy. We have had our first pit stop, which was Mike Noon. He's down in 17th, gone for the hard tyres after a difficult first couple of laps. Meanwhile, Jack, crucially, just out of the DRS zone, 1.1 ahead.
Here we go, Alistair's gaining and gaining on Dexter every time down that back straight he's on. And thinking better off it from the move, just a bit too far back. But that straight really proving a good chance for the cars. And you can really see who's running high downforce and who's running low downforce. What would you run here, John?
Well, I think the last time I actually remember racing here, I did tend to go for the higher downforce, which sort of made me a bit of a... No, actually, tell a lie, I went for lower downforce with a straight line, but the DRS is... Oh, Baz has just caught the back, and now Jack got caught out under braking. And there's going to be a little bit of front wing damage to that Red Bull. Now Jack's car should be okay. But back to the question in hand, as Baz goes off now. I tend to go lower downforce to just get the pace advantage in the DRS straights and try to stick with the cars from the corner. It's how I won one of my more recent GP1 races in a battle with Jamie Day, who gave it a very good battle. It was a different philosophy on his car setup, because he was very high downforce, which meant he could really get me into turn 3. But down the straights I could get him back, and ultimately I just ended up winning out on the battle. Meanwhile, we've got another Alpha off towards the back of the field.
Baza coming in. He's called it quits on that set of softs, and maybe that broken front wing. He has called it quits. Dexter gaining and gaining and gaining on the back of Mircombe, just that little bit too far back, and towing Alistair along on those mediums. So he's looking in a half decent position towards the end of the race. Has got that penalty though, which could cause implications later on. Jordan now starting to catch Jack Pearson. The gap was 1.1. It's now 0.6 of a second for Jordan. Starting to put the pace on just that little bit more.
Jordan's also managed just to get the fastest lap of the race there, as Mr. Jordan has in the pit lane, so that shouldn't cause a VSC or a safety car. But yeah, Jordan with the fastest laps, definitely starting to put the pressure on a little bit on Jack. Jack can be prone to making a few mistakes, so he'll have to concentrate hard here and just withstand the pressure and stay ahead as best as he can. Meanwhile, Dexter having a look at Owen, but not quite. Meanwhile, the battle for third is getting close, because it's a little training for me behind the race point of Owen there in third.
It was. Dexter was flat out through Campstar. So that Dexter running a lot of downforce on that Red Bull, flat through Campstar in the... Well, he might have shedded off some speed, and he is now going for the undercut on Owen, so this will relinquish Alistair maybe to try and get past. Jack has also come in as well for Mercedes. Will he be held up by Dexter coming in? We're on board with Dexter now to find out. No, he won't, so he has escaped that one. Jack and Dom have also come in, so Dom's coming in. Is Dom going to get the delay? Jordan has picked up a 3-second time penalty, so not what he needed. Is Dom going to get the... Yes, he's got the animation delay. That's not great for him. Jack, is he going to come out in clean air? He is going to come out behind Angel versus Death, but Jack should be clearing him quickly. There's not a train, which is what he needed. And Angel versus Death is spun it. I don't think we'll see a safety car for that unless there's Dave Reed. Doesn't look like he's broken his front wing though, and that allows Dexter through as well, so not what Owen needed there. 1.2 seconds.
The gap.
Go on.
It's currently 20.2 seconds between Jordan and Jack. It is closing slightly. See Jack in the middle sector, while Jordan's coming towards the final sector now. We'll see how it is when Jack crosses into the final sector. But it looks to be that Jack has gained a few tenths on this outlap so far.
He is responding. Jordan coming in.
Jack has gone deep. Jack has gone deep into the hairpin at the end of sector 2. So all the time he's stayed, he's now lost. So this is going to be very close on the pit stops. Meanwhile, Alistair now takes the lead. Obviously yet to pit, but here's the stops.
Here we go then. So Owen and Jordan then are going to get passed by Callum Babel, who's not yet to pit. Jack and Dexter coming down that back straight now. So we're going to go with Jack to see where he is in relation to Jordan. There is Jordan there leaving the pits. Jack. It's going to be close side by side going into turn 1. The overcut seemed to have worked. Oh, just that little bit there. Dexter on Owen. And Owen holding Dexter as well. So the strategies have worked for Jack and Owen. They were the first ones to pit. It's working out fun, but yet, like you said, Alistair now into the lead of this race. This is time for him now to maybe get the head down a bit now, get some quality laps in. You're about to go on for the softs. You don't want to be too far behind, otherwise it's too much of an ask. But Neljak now on the back of M-Shep, who's behind Indecisive and Red Bull Kim, running up in 7th. But a relatively clean race, no safety car or VSC, which is surprising from an F1 game. But M-Shep now still got the inside of Indecisive there, as watched on board from Neljak, thinking better off it, and probably the right decision through there. Will Alistair come in a slap and respond? He stays out, so that's not a surprise. Indecisive all over the place. Is Neljak going to try and follow through? He is, and the tracing point is through. Now can M-Shep find his way past Red Bull King? Camel Babel has come in. He was on the soft, so good for him. M-Shep then, does he think about it now on Red Bull King? Thinking better off, and Jack sets a new fastest lap with an 18.3. But traffic here for these guys isn't great.
Yeah, I think it's going to be very frustrating for Neljak, the only one of his train of cars that's yet to pit. He possibly had a chance of coming out ahead of Camo Babo, but I think that the little delay in traffic might just cost him, and there we are. Camo Babo is out in P6, while Neljak still in P9 fighting M-Shep and Red Bull Kid. So Camo Babo on the old, well, not on the alternate strategy, just went longer on the
right round the outside of the Alfa Romeo. What a fantastic move that was from Neljak. He dived back up the inside, and that was always going to happen, I'm afraid. When you dive up the inside, you cannot be that close to a car's side pod, or that is going to happen, unfortunately, for M-Shep, and that's like Dom Smith and Indecisive through on him. Yeah, like you say, Camel Babel avoiding that traffic, so he'll be happy. They were all so slow through there, and it's worked out perfect for that McLaren driver.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got a lot of clear air now to try and close down Dexter and Owen, but the gap is nearly 10 seconds, or 8.5 seconds, so it's going to be tricky for him to manage that gap, but there are still 9 laps to go, we're halfway through the race, so we'll see what pace the McLaren driver has, and see if he...
Here comes Jordan on Jack, he's gaining again, this is for the net P1. Jack goes defensive, Jordan not late enough on the brakes and can't quite make the move, and battling is only going to help Dexter and Owen here. Yellow flag in sector 1 and 2, I believe that's Mike Noon. That's gone off there, I do believe he's a lap down, that's why he's not dropping positions. But a safety car now would be mental.
I can tell you, Indecisive was very indecisive about whether we wanted to go into the pit lane or not. He was sort of stuck in the middle a little bit and decided to stay out, so that was what the yellow flag in sector 3 was. Meanwhile, M-Shep's just got past Red Bull King for P9. Don's got ahead of them both had, it's now up to P8, and within touching distance of Neljak, he could potentially catch him before the end of this one, and that will be the scrap for 7th position. Meanwhile, the gap between Alistair in the lead and Owen in 4th is about 19.5 seconds. So, I think as it stands, Alistair will come up just behind in that battle for what will be the final podium spot. But he will have the advantage of being on soft tyres, so...
Especially if Jack and, not Jack, Dexter and Owen start fighting as well. That's only going to slow Owen down, it's going to slow them both down, because he doesn't really want to come out between or even behind these two. He's going to want to be ahead of them. And here comes Jordan then for the net P1 round the outside of Jack and takes it. How cool do you like it from Jordan? And into second, but is a net P1. I believe we'll see Alistair coming in to give these guys first and second back very shortly. A safety car now would really help them though.
Very important to remember, Jordan has a 3-second time penalty.
This is Jack, he'll pick one up later.
Has to sit within 3 seconds, but there's still 8 laps to go, there's plenty of time for things to change.
There is indeed, the gap is now definitely coming down between the leaders and Alistair now. Jackson, here we go!
And...
Called it! And that's not even commentator's curse, that's just Jack. A little bit late on the brakes. And a yellow flag into sector 1. We've got another Williams around, not quite sure who that is. Alistair staying out again on his medians.
I think ultimately, there we go, the pit window has just flashed up for me, that 11 to 15 for the soft tyre, so this will be the lap you think Alistair will come in. We've got a slow Red Bull recovering in sector 2, which is Bazza. And he's just held off Blair Grills there in fight for P10. Meanwhile, M-Shep's still in P9 of course, but yet to pit. We've got a yellow in sector 2, it's this time it's the other Williams. Angel versus Death, he's kept it out the wall and will continue. As Mike's little fiesta in Spain is still going, as they tend to say. Spain, but the S is silent. That would be the way to describe Mike's race, I'm afraid.
Oh, safety car! Alston on the mediums then. On the safety car. This changes absolutely everything in this race.
I think he's hit the pit wall.
Oh, I turned off my gaps. Whoops. All you got to do now is not speed.
And yes,
he does.
So the Tom Penguin has hit the pit wall. And the Williams are coming together, but they're going to have to double stack. Mike's
they are indeed.
Pits, but he's a lap down. Let's see what Alistair is. He's coming in now.
He's not got a speed. That's all you got to do. I don't think he sped in the pit lane there. Looks very close though. Where is Jordan coming through the final corner? Obviously, these guys aren't full speed. Alistair's being serviced. Softs on. You see them having to lift and brake. He is going to climb behind Jordan. He is, but on softs.
A massive advantage.
And his softs are going to be nurtured as well. Dolman's got to drive through for speeding under the safety car.
I don't know if the safety car has become harsher or not, because I've seen this a few times this season with drivers getting penalties for speeding under the SC.
The Delta can reset now, which happened to me and Dan in China. Like me and Dan were like half a second up, and then it said like pass and then don't pass, and then the Delta went into the red. Like it didn't even like go down; it just went straight red. So unless they're speeding when it's red, and then it's reset, and then they don't have time to get it back up. But
there has been a change. So
there has.
That might explain what's been catching people out, because I've been a bit surprised by it now. The good news for Alistair regarding any possible attack from behind in the restart is that there is a lapped car between him and Owen in front.
And Will Golston has to get out of the way. But his softs will, of course, be nurtured now. And he's come out of ahead of two cars, which he would have probably came out behind. So it has worked for him. He's the only driver to start on the mediums, I believe. I'm not sure if anyone else outside the top 10 decided to switch to them, but in qualifying he was the only one to set his lap on the mediums. And he's had some races where he probably shouldn't have made the mistakes he has, and this is a great chance now for him to put them right and get 25 points, and maybe they pass his lap point.
Yeah, the only other people who've started on mediums are M-Shep and Indecisive, who both pitted for soft tyres. Both still in the lead lap, but it'll be they've got quite the trek to make it to the back of the safety car queue. Meanwhile, someone else who has sneakily got into the pits without anyone really noticing is the Mercedes of Dom Smith, who's dropped to P10. But he will be on the back of the train for the restart on brand new soft tyres.
Yeah, I did that in TGV1. There was two races, China and Vietnam. Safety car came out both times, and I did an extra stop for the set of softs. But it did work. It gave me positions in the end. Only an extra one, but an extra position is worth it.
I'm having trouble.
There's my Alexa.
Take a look at the health section in
Alexa! Shush! I've not set you up yet, so there is no internet to connect to. Anyway, that's my engineer. But it's going to be really interesting to see what Alistair can do then on the soft compound tyre, especially with Owen in fourth, because Owen does have a good lunge.
The one thing you don't want to do when under the safety car is hit the back of the car in front. I do believe that has just occurred for M-Shep and Black Grills. Both have 5-second penalties. I can also tell you M-Shep's got a drive-through, and so does Dom Smith.
And the safety car has half a drive-through that'll go into the pits but won't come back out, hopefully. But long enough, I think, for Alistair to pick his way through these two cars and maybe get the lead of this race. It's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen, because Jordan's going to have to defend from a Merc, and the Merc is going to have to defend from a very rampant Renault on fresh softs. Owen has got Michael Kenny ahead of him, but that will surely change. The blue flag will be waved straight to him. We don't allow lapped cars through on the F1 game, thankfully, to be fair. But Jack ran all over the back of Jordan for the safety car start off. They can't pass until they start finish line. And there we go then. We are back under green flag. And Jordan happened to defend already from Jack. Both, I presume, using overtake. He's looking to the inside. They could make Alistair's job really easy here if they come together. Jordan all over that curve and Jack retaking the lead in the race. He knows what's behind him and he knows he has to clear Jordan quickly. But Owen has not had the best of restart there, maybe with Michael Kenny maybe getting in the way, but a few more cars have come into the pit, not quite sure what that was for, maybe for drive-throughs or stop and goes or something.
I think it's stop and goes for Matt Emmershef and Blackfield. I can tell you that Engelfert's death nearly dropped it coming out of the chicane on the restart, which is why Owen was so far back. He had to wait until the finish line to get past the lapped car. So that's really costing him a chance of trying to close in on the 3 cars in front. He's now going to have to focus on defending Dexter in the Red Bull. Camo Babo from the back of the field is under attack there from Neljak, who's sent it up the inside there and made the move stick. And meanwhile, there's also Mike Noon, the lap down, who's just charging for a wheel on soft tyres.
If he's got the fresh softs, it is allowed, as long as you overtake and pull away.
There's a Mercedes round. It looked like it was Dom who's got it back on. Baz has got a penalty. Mike's got a penalty. Meanwhile, Jordan's car was maxing out there down the straight. Obviously no DRS at that point, but it looked like he hasn't quite got the speed to pass Jack without the DRS, so he needs to stick with him through this lap before the DRS is enabled. Also, all 3 of these cars have a 3-second penalty, so that makes it very important for the end of the race, because the car behind, that happens to be 3.3 off the lead, has no penalties, and that's Owen. So this is actually a 4-car fight for the win as it stands, due to penalties. So let's see what Owen can do in his last few laps, see if he can close in, because this could be decided up the line, basically.
That it could be. It's going to be interesting to see what the top 3 do, because Alistair's not really making the inroads. I think a lot of people were expecting on those softs. Maybe in the back of his mind, he knows he's made mistakes in the past. He's just wanting now to get the points. Maybe not wanting to push that extra hard. Doesn't want to risk it all. You'd rather get 15 than none. He is definitely in DRS, but just hasn't got the pace at the moment, and he is going to drop behind Mayor Quimby, so he's got to find 7/10 of a second on this last lap to pull out, and he's not doing that at the minute.
He's got to get away from Dexter as well, because Dexter is just within that 3 seconds, so he could potentially still finish 5th here, but at the same time, if he can get through these 2 cars in front, he can still potentially win this race. That's how close it is. It's going to be very close between the top 3, whatever the top 3 is, due to the penalties that the 3 cars at the front have. But meanwhile, Jack is holding on for the time being, half a second over Jordan. DRS is now enabled, and here we go with Jordan enabling the DRS down the straight. That will allow him to close in. Not really close enough to make a move at all, but it's just enough to get him close for the last lap.
And it is, he is definitely trying to pull away from Jordan, but these 3 are just too quick for their own good at the minute. They're not really quicker than each other. Jack's had a poor exit out there, though. That could allow Jordan, who's had a poor exit out there as well. You see Owen really in prime position here to nick the podium away from Alistair. Needs to get a move on those softs.
If these 2 fight on this last lap, they could give the win to Owen. It's just under 4/10, but it just seems like Jack, well, neither of them actually really got any ERS left, to be fair. I was going to say Jack might have defended it a bit better, but I think he's used it down the straight. But it's going to be very close indeed.
That it is. Will there be final lap mistakes from any of them? A final lap penalty just to throw it up in the air some more? I think Mike's round again. There it is, Mike. Can Johnny get any closer now to the back of Jack? He's a lot closer to the back of Carlton now. This could be for the race win. Don's picked up a 3-second time penalty. I thought someone else had got one there, like Owen. But Jordan, I don't think, has enough in the tank. Allison's now right up behind these guys as well. He's doing absolutely everything he can. This is 3 cars then, all going for the lead and a possible 4th with Owen and Dexter. Mike has called it a day. But Jack is going to win on the road, I think. But now it's going to be tense to see who wins on the day. Owen Quimby
takes it.
Owen takes the lead. Wow.
By 26 thousandths of a second. Owen wins the Spanish Grand Prix.
Owen Quimby, fantastic.
On the podium across the line. Look
well,
at that.
Owen Quimby wins.
A second separating the top 5.
I think one person that will be very happy there is Mayor Quimby. P4 and getting the race win. Someone who will be a bit disappointed, I think, will be Alistair. Although Softs didn't make the gains I think he wanted, and it's put him off the podium. But P4 for him, though, it's points. It's more than he got in Zandvoort. But again, it's not where he wants to be. But Jordan then, I think we'll be a bit disappointed with 3rd. Definitely had a bit more potential for that. And Camel Babo is the driver of the day. What a race! There is then your podium for the Spanish Grand Prix, the Catalan Grand Prix, whatever you want to call it. There is Otmar Zafner on the podium. We're just waiting now for the rundown. And it eventually shows me. So there it is then, the Spanish Grand Prix. Owen with no penalties, picking up the win by less than half a tenth of a second. It's Jordan 3rd, Alistair in 4th on the opposite strategy. 5th is Dexter. Neljak will be very happy with 7th. Camel Babel from the back of the grid will be delighted with P7. F1 Baza will be a bit disappointed with P8. Rebel Kim scoring points. He'll be chuffed with that. Indecisive P10. Dom Smith a bit disappointed to be P11. It's Bear Grylls in 12th. M-Ship 13th. Could have had a bit of a better race, I think, from his point of view. Angel versus Death 14. Mike Newton back to his old tricks and having a shambolic race, and it turned into P15. So Tom Penguin and Mr. John are the only DNS of the TGP2 Spanish Grand Prix. That has been rounds 5 and 6. Next week it's 7 and 8, and it is Monaco and Baku.